when you go back to an abuser, not only are you saying what you did was okay, but you're saying that you're willing to tolerate it. But guys, it gets worse. Like they're like, oh, you still couldn't leave me after I smacked you upside the head? Let me try punching you now and see what you do. Or was humiliating you in public not enough? Let's take it to the next level. Let's see if you'll leave then. And I think, and this is where I was talking about before I spiraled, that part of me gets in trouble with my heart where I don't think their intention is, let me see how much I can hurt you. I can't, and my heart can't get past that. I don't think their thought is, how can I hurt you? I think their thought is, I'm going to push you so far. You say that you love me. You say that you're never going to leave me. Prove it. And they want us to prove it, but not in the healthiest way. They want us to prove it by withstanding and being loyal to them regardless of how they treat us. Be like, okay, you know what? You've stood with me through World War III. I think that we're going to be good. It's like, why did we have to do all that? Because they know that you have that inner childhood wound that needs to constantly not only prove themselves, but to consistently be chosen. So you're needing to be chosen by your value. Well, look what I can do. Look, no, I can stay loyal to you while you cheat on me. No, I can stay here and minimize your behaviors. You just had a really bad day. Don't worry about the black mark on my face. We will minimize things in order for us to still be chosen by them. And when we realize that being chosen by poison is not ideal, right? I'd rather have filtered grade A water over here, really wanting to choose me than this poison. But on the flip side, you guys, it's not about if they choose us. When you get to the point in your healing that you have come to the conclusion, do I choose them? Is this who I want in my life? Not, is this who's willing to accept me? And they're coming from that mindset. Is this person going to accept me? Is this them? But are we what they want? I think that we hold the values that they want. And then, of course, they become jealous that they don't have it. They resent us. They start putting us down. Oh, well, now you think you're better than me. And that whole thing happens. But during the hoovering phase, it's like giving childbirth. Like we forget how awful it was, and then we do the whole thing again. So why do we put ourselves through all of that? It's like we just blacked out and we forgot the terrible pain. And then, then we're mad at them. You did this to me and I'm in here because of you and don't touch me. My spouse at the time could not touch me. Do not touch me. 10 feet away. But then you forget about it and then you have a second kid. And then you have a third kid, whatever. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing when it happens like that. But then when you have the abuse and we start minimizing and blacking it out, that's when we start gaslighting ourselves and we hoover ourselves. And when we hoover ourselves or they hoover us, would you remember when we did this? You remember when we did that? Remember all these good times? Remember when we had plans to go do this? I still want to do that with you. I can't go to Italy without you. Or I can't finish watching this show with anyone else. It's mine and your show. I mean, you'll get all those things. You'll get all of them. And that's not to say, again, that it's not coming from a sincere place. They probably can't watch that show without you. Because if they do just turn it on without you, they're probably going to feel an immense amount of shame. And they don't want to feel that. Therefore, they avoid it, right? So again, I don't think personally that they're saying, how much can I hurt this person? But it's everyone else in my life has left me. This person says that they're not. And I already have one foot out the door. I don't trust anyone. No one has lived up to their word. So if they can't handle me when I act this way, then, I don't need them in my life. But that's not fair. And I hate the word fair. I think it's very childish. I think it's a very immature word. But I'm going to use it. It's not a fair assessment for the abuser, or the toxic individual. Not all toxic people are abusive. But for the toxic individual to say, because you left me, and they're going through their withdrawals too. I truly think they go through withdrawals too, because perhaps they were love bombing someone else, which is when the devalue starts, and then everything happens, and then the discard. Well, let's say that new supply, right, didn't work out or left them too soon, just like you did, right? It's just like they saw, oh, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm a woke survivor. I know these behaviors, and they cut it off before it becomes an actual trauma bond. If that were the case, then now you have this guy or this girl, didn't mean guy, this toxic individual to say, okay, well, they recycle you. Well, this person this person gave me this. So, I did kind of actually like that. I liked that attention and, I'm going to see if they give it again. One of my new friends, I just became friends. So I've been friends with her husband for a long time and I finally just got to become friends with her and she's incredible. And she told me a story about her high school, a guy she dated in high school, very toxic. When I was explaining the cycle, she's like, "Oh my God, Regina, this exact thing happened to me. Now all of this is making sense." And I was like, "Girl, there's a playbook. Like this, I'm not saying anything that no one doesn't already know. It's just, it's validating to know that it happens to so many people and then to recognize that it happened to you and how you're processing it and how that then influenced your decision in your next guy or next person you're dating, all those things." But what she said was, she had they had broken up. Her and the toxic boyfriend had broken up. She starts dating this really, really, really kind guy. Really nice, sweet, gentle man. And the toxic guy, saw her happy. Came in, hoovered her right in, all of the things, got her to break up with the nice guy. And she said, "I was bawling. I knew that I should not be leaving this kind guy. I knew that he was really good for me. But I went back to this bad guy. I went back to the toxic man. We went on a date. He had both meet with it. It was like a double date for this dance. And she said they both sat in the front. They had us sit in the way back, and all our dresses all dressed up. We're sitting in the back of the car by ourselves. I don't know what kind of car it was. So I don't really know like the distance, but clearly away. And at the dance, he ignored her the whole time, didn't talk to her. And then the very next day walks her out to her car and breaks up with her. And she's like, "Why would he do that?" And I said, "To know that he could. You just validated that it didn't matter how he had treated you." And I said, "Let me guess, you were the one to leave him the first time, right?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "So here's the thing with that." Little sidebars on today's topic. Because you left him, that inner childhood wound of abandonment was screaming. It was on fire. You can't leave me. And I've been there. I didn't do what he did, but I've been there like, "You can't leave me." Like desperation, you can't abandon me like this person has and this person has and this person has and this person. Please do not have that, self-fulfilling prophecy that you're going to leave me. Like I can't have this repeat itself. So all of that spiraling. Then he sees her happy and he's like, "Crap, I'm not happy." And this is where, when I say I don't think they come out to hurt you on purpose, this is where that does happen. Where then it's revengeful and it's really sadistic and it's manipulative and it's cruel to where they're like, "I'm miserable, therefore I'm going to make sure you're miserable and I'm going to ruin your happiness like you ruined mine." So he goes out there, breaks them up. And did she go back to that nice guy? I didn't find out. I mean, I didn't find out like any of that conversation, but they didn't. She's with an amazing guy now, but with that one, no. And so it's interesting that he had to then hoover her back in just to be the one to leave her. And that was solely for his ego and not for a superior ego, for his inner child to confirm, okay, and all the people who have left you, this one didn't. You left her. You left her. Remember, not everyone leaves you. You can leave people too. And that's what I think it more so is. I think it's more so them needing validation that not everyone's going to leave them, even though they will, more than likely. If they continue their behaviors, right? Who's going to stay with that? And I think they really just need to have an eye-opening moment that they're going to have to continue finding people who are younger and younger, or who had a spouse die and have been in a long relationship and have never had a toxic relationship and are just completely overfilled with dopamine, with the love bombing, and go through all of that. But that takes so much effort, you guys. Like, I hardly have time to invest emotionally into just finding a guy to talk to, let alone putting all of that into one person who I know. Like if I were the toxic individual, if I know I'm investing all of this time into someone who I'm not going to end up with, where's the return on that investment? Like it doesn't make sense from an efficient standpoint. Like I can't, but I guess if their result isn't to necessarily get married and their end game is just to gain a supply and to just have that intimacy. And I think that's a big piece of it, right? They don't know what true intimacy is because it requires vulnerability. And in order for them to be vulnerable, they actually have to open up. And a lot of them do, right? You have the vulnerable narcissist who hears everything. And I don't think they do it half the time to like gain that sympathy, although it does happen. But I do think that they need someone to just reassure them that they're not going anywhere. Well, I'm sorry. Let this be a PSA to any toxic person who's listening to this podcast, or to forward just this segment to that toxic individual. We love you. We are so sorry that you have gone through what you've gone through. By no means did you deserve it, and it is not your fault. This does not mean you get to inflict pain onto us because you're hurting. This does not mean that you get to test our love for you because you're hurting. We needed it tested just as much. We need to make sure that you're going to be there for us just as much, but we want to make sure you're going to be there through thick and thin, through good and bad, not horrific, not disloyal, not infidelity. Those are not things for us to remain loyal to, and we wouldn't expect you to remain loyal to that either.